Your name and what branch of service?
My name is Thomas W. Shelton in the United States Navy. I was assigned to destroyer Walker DDE 517 in the year of 1950, November. The Walker's home port was Pearl Harbor in the Hawaiian Islands. One of her first assignments to duty was to go to the Marshall Islands and there patrol the waters and be available if the blast of the hydrogen bomb. The island that was to be patrolled was called Anahuac. The natives there on the island had been moved by the government to a different location and told that they could come back to the islands in a number of months after the radiation had cleared. The Walker's job was chiefly to patrol the island and use its radar and sonar equipment, and to using the personnel, and was to prevent any activity from ships and submarines and so forth from coming into the area. We were told very little as personnel about what would happen, except that the bomb would be placed in a tower that would be built by the Seabees, Navy Seabees. The tower was built like a pyramid, and the bomb was to be installed inside the tower. The tower was made of wood, and we were told as personnel that the morning that the bomb was to be set off, there would be a countdown on the ship. Some sailors were issued sunglasses, kind of plastic type, dark glasses, and were told, all of us were told not to look directly toward the bomb blast. Then the morning of that the blast was to go off, there was to be a countdown starting at about 25 and come down to 1 and to indicate when the bomb was to go off. The morning was at about 8 o'clock, and when the countdown came, there was a bright flash from the bomb explosion, as bright as you'll ever see, and in probably 4 or 5 minutes, the heat from the blast was tremendous. It's about like you'd stepped into a blast furnace. And a big mushroom formed over the blast, and the vapors and colors from the mushroom was tremendous. It'd be hard to describe it. In fact, you would say it was beautiful. The sailors on the Walker were instructed to take a shower, and that all their clothing was to be placed and washed and take care of the radiation. The hospital personnel, or the corpsmen, used what I would call a Geiger counter to go over the ship to detect what kind of radiation. At no place on the ship did they go to test that it didn't sound like a Geiger counter going off from the radiation. The next day, or shortly after that, the Walker made a patrol around the island of Anahuac to see what kind of effect the bomb had. The tower was completely gone. Pieces of splinters, wood, was on the island, and a big hole was in the ground in the sand where the bomb had blasted itself off.
Dead fish.
And out in the ocean, from the beach there, dead fish and debris and so forth from the tower was out there, probably 100 or so yards, and it was devastating. We left the island, and at this time, I'd like to tell you, there has been no follow-up, as far as I know, about the effects of the blast, whether it did or whether not, that any sailors received any radiation or having any medical problems from that. Personally, I would like to tell you that later in life, probably when I was 40 years old, I started having nerve problems. The neurologist that I went to see determined that I had peripheral neuropathy, but the kind that I had did not indicate that I was a diabetic, and still am not a diabetic. Over the years, the health problem has deteriorated to the point that I began using a walker, and probably this has been 20 years ago. I was using a walker at some time, and then it escalated to a hand walker, a four-wheel walker.
Are your feet numb?
I had health problems that the doctors could not do anything about. I have not done anything other than prescribe pain medicine.
Okay. Okay.
As the years passed, probably 10 years ago, I developed a situation where I couldn't hardly write my name. And then that has escalated to where I can't pick up a pen. I can't sign my name to anything.
You can't hold on to it?
And other than today's situation, I have trouble with a walker. I have to have assistance to walk, and I have problems with eating. I can't hold a utensil like a fork and knife.
What about your balance?
My balance is probably 100% gone. I cannot stand up unless without aid, and I have to hold on to the walls.
Are your extremities numb?
My extremities are numb. I have fingertips that have problems feeling of any type of object.
Yeah.
And it's an ache like it's indescribable.
Have the doctors never questioned you about it at the VA?
When I went to the VA and filled out the questionnaire, I was asked if I had any service-related injuries. And I said at the time that I didn't, but I feel like that maybe this bomb test should have been something that should have been entered into the records other than the way they were.
What about your records?
The doctor who was assigned, that I was assigned to, was real interested in the fact that I had was a veteran and had experience with atomic energy or at the bomb test and so forth.
But he never investigated it?
But there was never any follow-up, any suggestion, anything there of anything to do.
Do you have records?
The records that I was told at the time that there had been a fire in Kansas City or somewhere where the records had been stolen, and my records had been destroyed. I have no follow-up with the people who were on the walker at the time I was to see indicate what kind of health problems that they might have had. I wish that there had been some follow-up upon all people who have been that were attached to the A bomb and the hydrogen bomb, and see if their medical history coincided or if any problems had occurred that were
Radiation related.
radiation related.